Welcome back everyone to Inkmatic. In this video we'll be talking about investment portfolio trackers and the one that I use personally and what they're used for. So investment portfolio trackers are basically a way to keep track of your investments. For example, what companies you've invested, how much you've invested in that, what price you've paid, are you making profit per those investments, and of those companies that you invested, how much do they make up of your portfolio, what sectors, what type of investment they are, what currency they're in, and dividends that have been paid are just a few of reasons why you would have an investment portfolio tracker. So moving on to the one that I use. So if I put in today's date, which is 17th of November, and we'll just let that calculate. And this is my most recent data on my stocks. So obviously here is a little summary of what this portfolio is or has. So on the 17th of November 2019, your investment portfolio had a total market value of £3,220, and your portfolio was composed of 43 individual holdings. So this basically means that I've got a total portfolio value of 3,220, and it's split between 43 different companies. So moving down onto your portfolio holdings. So this is basically a breakdown of your overall investments by company. So as you can see here, that New York stock Cloudflare is my largest holding at £324, followed by Direct Line Group, BT, New River REIT, Aviva, Lloyds, and Barclays. So these are my largest positions out of the portfolio itself. On the pie chart to the right of it is the investment category. So this is basically how I divide up my investment. So I've got 50.7% is on domestic equity. This is dividend focused. And then I've got 24.1%, which is domestic equity, and it's not so geared towards dividends. International equity. So this is basically stuff like on the Spanish stock exchange, the German one, the US stock exchange, followed by REITs, which is also basically is a large portion of my overall overall portfolio. And then I've got investment trusts and exchange traded funds is this little blue one. And then the other two pie charts, basically investment sectors. So as you can see here, that I'm very heavily invested in insurance, banking, and telecoms, which account for over 50% of the overall portfolio. And then in currency, over 83% is in UK stocks. Then I've got 13.8% in US stocks and 3% in euros. So that's basically German and Spanish at the moment. So I'm planning to increase my holdings in them, possibly diversify into other stocks as well. So this is basically a really good investment portfolio tracker. So if you wanted to add more stocks, you would add the sector here. And then the category of investment, if you've got something new, like maybe you want to add bonds in here, you'd add bonds. Your investment account, so I've got Freetrade, Trading 212, and Trading 212 ISA. And then here, if you've got a new stock that you want to add, you just add it in here, and it will then automatically populate as per that. Trading log, so this is when you buy, sell, or get dividends, you'll add them in here. So you would just add it in here. So let's just do a quick demo. So if I put today's date, I would buy, let's put Aviva, got 10 shares at £4.50. obviously I need to fix this formatting here, but oh well. And then let's put £1 commission, and it's on Freetrade. And then as you can see here, you've also got the little trend of what's happening with this stock. But obviously this is just a demo one, so I want to remove that. And that should update and get rid of that. So yeah, that's basically what this is how I input my trades. And then if you want to see the whole summary of my overall investment portfolio, you can see this here. And yeah, so basically I've got the name here, and then you've got basically the ticker symbol, what currency it is, the investment category, investment sector, quantity of shares that I hold. You've also got the 30-day trend graph of what the price looks like. Obviously with these ones here, the currency symbol does not matter of what it is, it's literally the number. So this is basically in its local currency, but if you wanted to know what it is in Great British Pounds, it's right here. So this is obviously converted into Great British Pounds, and you can see, for example, Twitter, it's £23.01 I paid per share. The market value is at £22.66, so obviously I'm making quite a bit of a loss. And my cost base for all the shares that I own is £46.02. The market value of them is £45.32. Of my portfolio, so only accounts for 1.4%, and I'm down 70p, and that relates to down 1.5%. So that's just a basic breakdown of the overall portfolio. Moving down to this, so this is quite a key thing that I quite like. So you can compare a start period to now, basically. So if I wanted to compare what my portfolio looked like when I first started and how much returns I've made, so if I go to the 1st of July, and this will then recalculate this graph, and it will, once it's done, give it a few seconds, and yeah, so it's done. So so my contribution, so this isn't entirely accurate. To work out what I've actually contributed would be this, so it'd be this plus this. So obviously this is a negative number, so you need to plus it, otherwise a double negative would be a positive. So this is excluding the reinvestments that I've made when I've sold shares. But then I also need to do this minus this. So I've invested £2,910 into the portfolio, and now it's at £3,220, and that's roughly about a 12% increase over 4 months ish, four and a bit months, which is, I think, is a pretty good deal. And I'm pretty happy with that, a 12.38% return, which is decent. Hopefully it continues. So that's just a little breakdown on how this is calculated. Now moving on to investment category by performance. So since I started, you can pretty much see domestic equity and dividends, REITs, exchange traded funds, and investment trusts are all positive, and the only one that's down is international equity, which is primarily due to Cloudflare that I invested and jumped on the IPO hype when I should have waited for the market to settle a bit, but what can you do? Moving on to dividends. So this is quite an interesting section of the tracker. I really like this because for the long run, I will be able to compare my dividends from previous years. So 3 years down the line, I could probably see 2019, 2020 and 2021 and compare the performance between the years. So it has the last 5 years and the last 24 months as a breakdown. So this is pretty good, and it will just automatically add it up from the trade log. So every time you get a dividend, just add it in there and it will automatically calculate it for you. So as you can see here, that my first dividends started rolling in August, and I got paid 20p. So, you know, big gains here. And then the next month it increased to £22.78p, which is here. And this is basically the change from the previous month. So it was up £22.58 from the previous month, and year on year it's up £22.78. October I got a dividend of 47p, and I'm down £22.31 from the previous month, and I'm up 47p year on year, and so on. So this is a good comparison between how your stocks are doing on a month-on-month basis and a year-on-year basis, and you can see the change between them. And what's nice is it'll plot it in a graph. So as you can see here, this month I'm on a £8.54 dividend received, so this is pretty good. What's also nice is here, I'm not sure if I've already mentioned it, but if you wanted to see what your portfolio looked like in October the 1st, you can just click on the date and then it will recalculate what you had at that time, which is pretty sick if I'm honest. So on the 1st of October, I had £2,003 combined between all my platforms, and the portfolio was composed of 36 individual stocks. So as you can see here, that Cloudflare was my largest holdings, followed by BT, Aviva, Lloyds, and then Barclays. Here you can see that pretty much the same thing going on here, that banking, okay, so now insurance is my biggest holdings, but on the 1st of October, banking was my largest sector. So it's good to know, like, if you want to go back and see how your portfolio has performed on a given date, so which is really good. And obviously if I go to your portfolio holdings, it will then update for this as well. So you can see here that I know I've made recently a big change in direct line. So where's direct line? DLG BC direct line, here we go. So on the 1st of October I held 12 shares, but then if I go back to the dashboard and change this to today, 17, and we'll go back to this and just wait for it to load, and you can see that my portfolio is now at 116. So all this updates based on the start date in the dashboard, which is really useful. So if you wanted to know, oh, hang on a second, what did I have at this day, and it's quite good to know and review back. So this is basically the reason why I use it. It's quite in depth, it's quite good. It's probably the best thing, and it's better than anything I could make. I've made a few tweaks to it. So for example, I've got investment sectors, and on the other one it has it divided by accounts. So this is where I got my investment portfolio tracker from, the Measure of a Plan. So this is a great website for finance. So they've got some really good trackers on here. They've got like another one, Plan for Your Retirement, which is a really good one as well. So I'm using this one, Investment Portfolio Tracker. I'd highly recommend signing up to the newsletter they have once a month. They've got basically a breakdown of this on how to use it, and it's really good. I'd highly recommend giving it a look. Take a look at the website, and if you wanted to have a look at you just click on this and follow these instructions here, and you're good to go basically. So let me know what you think about this video, what kind of videos you'll like to see in the future. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. See ya.